Hi, Paul Higgins from Paul Higgins Mentoring here, and today I want to show you 11 custom fields that you can create in your sales CRM to improve your sales. So I'll go through each of them and I'll give you the key elements, and I'll also give you some examples where it makes sense, and I'll also give you a use case so you can see why you'd want to set this up. So the first one is the services that you provide. Pretty straightforward. Different sales CRMs do it in different ways. So I actually create a multi-select field. I put it in my contacts field, and I put the services I provide, and then I also filter it at any time. And the use case here is if I'm doing an upsell or a cross-sell. So I might look at all of my clients, what services they've got, versus the ones that they haven't, and then I can do a planned campaign within existing clients to upsell that. And you know that it's easier to sell to existing clients because of the relationship you've got than others. So this is an easy way of doing it. So that's a use case that I use. So next is the relationship field, and this is not for everyone, but what I do is I create a multi-select field. And really for you, it's to customize what you would call a relationship. But there's mine on the right-hand side. And as an example, I use it when I've met people. I'll go in my sales CRM, and sometimes I won't remember every lead or every client. So I'll just quickly skim through. And then when I've met someone, I actually mention that in the sales messages. So that's the way that I do it. You can see the ones that I've got there. It's really up to you, but it's an additional field that I have. And what I also do is set once a month to talk to a mentor, so I can just quickly go in and filter for mentors in my contacts, and then I can go through those. So there's some of the other ways that I use it. Next is expertise, and this is one that I use because I run a community and a lot of people come and ask me, who do you know? So I do a multi-select field. I do all their expertise, and I've got about 160 expert fields. And then once again, I can just filter it. So if someone wants, brand marketing, personal branding, you name it, I can quickly go and see who in my contacts can help it. So what you might be able to do is if, you're working with a client and you're not able to do everything, you can refer them to other people. And this is a great way of being able to do that, right? Because, we don't always remember everybody, and it's just a very simple way of going, oh, okay, so for me, for example, virtual assistants, I don't provide them, but I highly recommend them. So I can just go in and go virtual assistant, filter it by that in my contacts, and there's maybe there's probably 20, 30 names, and then I can, single it down from there. So that's how I use expertise. Next is sales activity, and this is a really important one. It's one that, I like a pattern to sales. So this is the pattern that I do. But once again, it's a multi-select field, customize it for what you need. And yes, I do filters to see who in my current leads are not connected on LinkedIn as an example. And what I do enjoy here is also what have my team done? So use cases, what has my team done? So I've got someone working for me on LinkedIn. What have they already done in the pre-engagement? So have they followed? Have they validated the email? Have they engaged in their LinkedIn posts, right? So I like to know that. If they haven't, I'd go and do that. Connection sent and accepted. Skill endorsement. Have I sent a video to them? I use a platform called Send Spark for that. Have I sent them some form of value add? So I can go back and see that and refer to that. Have I commented on their blog, which I don't use a lot, to be honest. I don't use that one. Are they followed on all socials? So that's something that my team will go and look for. So they could look through all my current clients or my current pipeline and say, well, am I following them on other socials? And mention in my post. So sometimes I do that. So I call them out if they're in the sales funnel. So they're the key things. Those sales activities can be custom for your industry, what you're doing, but that's what I use. Next is campaigns, and this is where I run specific campaigns on LinkedIn Outreach. So we go through focus periods, so it might be a month that we'll focus on one particular product or service, and then what I can do is, once again, it's a multi-select field, it's customized, but I use filters then to go and follow up on campaigns. So it's very easy to say, like, as an example, the free strategy call, like who's it been sent to, then I can go back and follow that up. So it just makes it a lot easier to dissect the information and follow up. And just on that, because I find that some campaigns, you don't want to have a whole lot of sales pipelines in your deals or opportunities or whatever you have in your sales CRM. So I find this is a good way of making sure that if it's a one-off, you don't want to create a whole pipeline for that. So you can just use these as to get around that. The next is source, so it's pretty straightforward. Now you'll be able to customize your source in most sales CRMs. I do make it a single select field because you really want to know what the core is, and then once again you can filter. I do it to identify patterns. So where's it coming from? Is it LinkedIn posts? Is it outreach? Is it podcast? And you can see there, you can pause and see mine. So I've got quite a few of them. And there's, sort of like the 80-20 rule, but that certainly helps. And then it combines with the next field, which is who sent. So this is a single select field. In your CRM, you should be able to actually have it as a field that you can go and select someone in your contacts. So that's what we do. So you can see who referred it. And I think, the use case here is that you've got affiliate fees that you can, the team can go and process those. You can thank them. So it reminds you to thank them, and not just when they've done it, but further on. And then when you are thanking them, you can also ask for others. But it's also good when you're talking to someone to say, hey, yes, you were referred by so-and-so. So if it's the first call, it's a nice icebreaker at the start. How you met. So this is just an open text field, and just put more context for the sale, right? So if it's a particular podcast that I'll listen to, and that's how I've spoken to the person, I'll put the podcast, I'll get my team to put the podcast in there, the link and the name, etc. So I can reference that, and you can still do that in LinkedIn Outreach and other areas you can use that information. It's just a bit of a memory jogger as well. Personal summary. So this is just, I always start a call by saying to people, tell me about yourself. What do you do when you're not at work? And most people laugh and say, look, I'm always at work. Yes, but what do? You might hike, you might play golf, whatever. So when you're in sales follow-up, you can go and ask them, how's this happening? And they'll know who you are, right? So instead of saying, hey, I'm circling back on this, you send them something about them personally. And then what they'll say is, hey, yes, I'm meaning to get back to you on ABC, right? So it's a lovely way of doing sales follow-up. And it's also just a great way to build that rapport at the start of the call. Life partner, children, pets. So it's an open text field. And I often refer to them, especially if, they say, get back to me in 2 months or whatever. I'll say, okay, fine. And then I'll actually say, how are you? And, their partner's name, their children or their pets. And it's just a beautiful way of building that rapport and that relationship, and you really stand out versus other people. Next is your sales notes. So this is an open text field, and I use this for the call questions, right? So what I do is I've got a list of questions that I always ask. So I've got a shortcut where I just put that in this field. And then as the conversation goes, I don't robotically ask each one, but I just look at those key questions and just make sure that I'm taking notes as I go. And if you want to get that, just email me at paul@paulhigginsmentoring.com, and I'm happy to share those with you. And also then the information that you gather can be used in the sales follow-up. So always, when I send a sales follow-up, I actually talk about what they want to achieve. Are you still looking to achieve this, right? So those things, and use their specific words, their exact words actually, out of the conversation. Also in the proposals, you can put the information into the proposals as well. So that is all of the 11. So some you prioritize which ones are most important for you. You don't need to have them all in there. And if you've got any questions or you'd like to know more, just get in contact with me at paulhigginsmentoring.com. Thank you. Bye.